Can we address how it is absolutely unhinged to hear a person that's stern in the fact that they don't want kids and then try to convince them that they should have them anyway? Because I've noticed that when women specifically say that we don't want kids, we're often badgered about it. You'll never know true love until you have a child. You better give that man a child or he'll find a woman who will. You don't want kids. That's what our bodies are made for. There are so many people in the world who carry around a suitcase full of trauma because they were raised by parents who weren't prepared to do the job effectively. So why aren't y'all relieved when you hear a person that's self-aware about not wanting or needing children? And the funniest thing to me is when childless women are referred to as selfish. Because when y'all are trying to convince us to have kids, y'all always give reasons that center the parent over the child. And what's more selfish than that?
Someone just told me to hurry up and have kids before it's too late. Too late for what?
No, us child-free women are not going to do that. The reason why some men and some women are so pressed about us child-free women having babies is because misery loves company. There are a lot of men who are so used to seeing their mothers struggle and taking care of business that they're not used to seeing a woman out there enjoying her life and not being bothered. And that's a scary thought to them. If she's not using her time to take care of these kids, then she has free time to topple the patriarchy. There are some women with kids who look at child-free women with jealousy. These mothers are looking at their own lives and situations and they feel like they've been bamboozled. So they gaslight child-free women, telling them that you need kids to fulfill your life. You're not going to feel like a complete woman unless you have kids. Anything so that these child-free women can be miserable right along with them. If you really want to have kids, make sure it's your decision, because all these people telling you that you need to have kids, they're not going to take care of it.
I recently posted a video that's going viral about how I choose to be child-free, and these are the top 3 comments, part 2. I'll never know unconditional love. I have unconditional love for myself, for my partner, my cats, my life, and there's so much more love to be experienced in this world than just your kids. And I think that when you put all of your fulfillment in that relationship, it's a lot of pressure. It's not very healthy for the kids. Number 2, I'm selfish. I think there's selfish reasons to have kids, and I also think that there's selfish reasons not to have kids, but most importantly, I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with being selfish. We are responsible for our own happiness. The happier we are, the more we have to give to others. So your happiness is your responsibility, and if it requires you to be a little bit selfish, go for it. I'm not chosen by God if I don't have kids. I think this is so mean, especially for women who deeply want children, and then you tell them that they're not chosen. I think every woman has a beautiful purpose, a beautiful reason to be alive and to be here on earth, and not all of us are here to bear children. A lot of us are here to be medicine women, to be shamans, to birth new projects and creativity and community. And you know, it takes a village to raise a child. That doesn't mean that every single woman in that village needs to have a child. There's a role for each and every single one of us, whether you choose to have kids or not. I have a bunch more comments like these, so like and follow for part 3.
So a few days ago, Chelsea Handler made a video about how she loves her child-free life. And as usual, a horde of effeminate, dry-wiped, conservative white males came busting in like the Kool-Aid man with their unsolicited 2 cents and unwashed behind. So the most unhinged rant came from this man who looks like a cross between that Fron meme from about a decade ago and Forrest Gump.
Well, I wonder why you called me a wise man, Tucker, because I'm actually very stupid. You see, when I was a kid, I thought I was wise. I thought I was very intelligent. I did. And you know why I thought that, Tucker? Because I had a mom who loved me. And she was always, Jesse, you're the smartest. And Jesse, you're the best. And then one day, I'm 18 years old, and I got a 0.0 grade point average in college. I'm not making that up. And your womb resembles a dried up tumbleweed blowing down an old western town. And you're trying to pretend like you're happy, but you're not happy.
That's right, kids. The demographic with the highest rate of unaliving themselves and the second highest rate of antidepressant use is here to tell us all how to be happy. He's a self-professed deadbeat dad who admitted to not taking care of his own kids because, quote unquote, babies are too much work. Yeah, let's let that sink in for a minute. So it's okay for him to opt out of child rearing, but when a woman makes the exact same choice, she gets attacked for it. You see, conservative men, We as women do not have the luxury nor the conceit to have children and only participate in the fun parts of it while leaving the actual parenting up to someone else. Oh, and surprisingly, he also thinks that women shouldn't vote. It looks like Chelsea was spot on when she said that these men are more mad about the fact that they haven't been a way to take away her freedom yet. Anyways, if you're interested in things like tracking mask hysteria and destroying masculinity, consider giving me a follow. Bye for now.
So a woman shares her single, child-free weekend plans on the internet, and the single men lose their ever-loving mind. Here's what she said.
It's 10:45 a.m. on a Saturday. I'm 29 and single, and I don't have kids yet. Here's what your Saturday morning looks like when you're single at 29 and you don't have a kid running around the house. I didn't rise from my bed until 10:15. Every time I thought, I should probably get up and do something, I thought, why? Nobody's making me. I'm not missing out on anything. I went to Beyonce last night, and I didn't get home until 1 a.m., and I danced and drank my little heart out, and I didn't pay a babysitter to watch my kids as I did that.
Literally nothing problematic, nothing triggering that you would think, right? But here's what the men have to say about it. This man says her life doesn't revolve around her family and kids, so instead it revolves around TV shows and pop stars. Worst of all, she's too stupid to realize how depressing that is. Depressing for who? Like, what she's describing sounds lit. Like Beyonce for the weekend, sleeping in. She goes on to talk about, going to try this new dish that she wants to try. And she's like, I don't have any obligations. Society really has tried to make me feel guilty or make me feel like I'm behind in life because I'm not married yet and I don't have kids yet, but I feel fulfilled. That's all she was saying. But you have men on the internet now threatening to off her because she's happy about her weekend plans. Like, this is the thing. Some of these men are so lonely that it has made them like so jaded and so miserable. The fact that you were threatened to do that because she's happy being single, these are the same kind of men that were trying to justify a young woman getting hit on the side of her head with a brick, saying that you ladies say you're independent, right? Where's all that independence now? Like, you would wish physical harm on a woman because she's happily single. Some of these single men are miserable. They hate the fact that you seem happy without them. The fact that you would be okay with a woman getting hit on her head with a brick because she refused to give a man her number. And you say, well, that's what you get for being single. A woman shares her weekend plans with you and you're like, for what? These same men have the nerve to act surprised that the birth rate is dropping and the marriage rate is dropping. Look at who's out here. All women have ever asked you to do was to step up and to be better. But you want somebody to take you as you are. But you're the kind of person that's okay with a man hitting a woman upside her head with a brick. You're not the best choice. That's why nobody's choosing you. Not every woman dreams of being one of your wives. Not every woman dreams of giving birth to some of your children. Some women have their own dreams, their own goals, and they don't include you. They don't include men. You are not the only way that a woman can be happy. Being connected to one of you does not give every woman's life meaning. She'd rather be single than feel she has to raise a grown man. She'd rather be single than have a man sit in her face and weaponize his incompetence. She'd rather be single than be a married single mom. These women are choosing themselves. It's not selfish when y'all do it, but when a woman does it, it's like, as if we were only born. We were only created just for you and your pleasure. A woman can't possibly have a fulfilling life without one of you in it. Some of these men are jealous because your happiness is genuine and theirs is fake. They want to punish you for being happy without them. That's why they're happy. That's why some of them secretly celebrate that woman getting hit on the head with a brick. Because that's what they want to do to women who don't want them. Like the man who came on here and was like, women who don't give nice guys a chance deserve to be great. That's how some of them genuinely feel. He represents more of the men out here than want to admit. There are some of them that are that furious, that are that horrible, that despicable, that's how they feel about women choosing themselves and not them.
I hate to break this to you, but having children is no guarantee that you're going to be cared for in your old age. It would never occur to me to have children for the sole fact of looking after me when I'm in palliative care. And in speaking to many nurses and doctors who work in palliative care, the loneliest people are parents. So I don't know. I think that this question is really, really boring at this stage. I am really tired of being shamed for not wanting children. I love kids. Just because I don't have kids isn't an attack on you and your decision. So how about we stop shaming women for their decisions and let's come up with some better insults for the child-free.
Today we're going to talk about projection. Pause the video at any point if you want to read the comments. Projection is when you take unwanted feelings you have within yourself and apply them to somebody else. The common thread in these comments is the projection of being alone in old age or dying alone on a deathbed. That last part's very dramatic. These are not only fears that I don't have myself, but I definitely wouldn't have a child just in case I make it to old age and just in case I have a long death on a deathbed. Doesn't seem like a good reason to bring a human being into the world. Could it possibly be a benefit of having a child? Sure, but there's no guarantee you'll outlive your child. There's no guarantee that your children will live near you. There's no guarantee that you won't be estranged. And there are so many other things that can happen. And please let me also remind you that nursing homes are not filled with child-free people. I'm not invalidating their fears or their concerns. I believe they are entirely real for them. I just don't share them. And I had multiple comments, I guess from very young people who were saying, wait until you're 60 and we'll see how happy you are alone. I'm 54. 60 isn't that old to me. In my family, my grandmother lived by herself until age 97 when she passed away. All the women in my family lived until their 80s on their own, and not all of them had children. If you want to have a child, fantastic, but do not have one just in case you might be alone when you get old.
Here's what your Saturday morning looks like when you're single at 29 and you don't have a kid running around the house.
Wow, the conservatives on Twitter are really mad about this one. Matt Walsh, a religious alt-right speaker, uploaded this video to his Twitter account in order to whine about a woman whose life doesn't revolve around men or kids. If there is one thing I have learned about men like Matt Walsh, the scariest thing in the world to them is a woman who is living for herself. This girl made the most innocent video. She was talking about how she went to the Beyonce concert and got to sleep in the next morning because she doesn't have kids. I don't even know how he found this video. It has nothing to do with him. Did not have to affect him in any way, and yet he felt so personally attacked that he had to upload it for his 2.4 million followers so that they could all know about how sad and pathetic he thinks she is and how he thinks she's too stupid to even know how sad and pathetic she is. She seems really happy to me, and he seems really defensive. Religious right-wing men see women like me and her, women who don't have kids, aren't married, and are, God forbid, sleeping in on Saturdays instead of taking their kids to soccer practice, as the biggest threat to their way of life. It's almost like, why do you feel so threatened? Is it because you know that a woman taking care of herself is ultimately going to be much happier than a woman taking care of your pathetic ass? Julia, I am very sorry that you've had to deal with this bullshit today. Somebody with over 2 million followers on Twitter really should not be taking your videos just to post them on Twitter to send hate and negativity your way. I've had to deal with my fair share of that bullshit as an openly child-free person on the internet, and it sucks. But there is a community of people on here who relate to you and want to support you, so I hope you'll all go and send her some love. Take your birth control, and I will see you tomorrow.
Or even a woman with a partner who has gone their entire life childless.
You have summoned me. A child-free woman in her 50s has entered the chat. You have some great questions, and I think it's normal to ask these questions, especially when everybody around you is trying to give you a case of the what-ifs. What if I get older and regret it? What if I want grandchildren? What if I feel left out when all my friends are having children? The what-ifs are real, and I got them from a lot of angles in the 1990s. People would ask me all the time, what if you're alone when you get older? What if you want to have a child later in life? What if being child-free by choice is not everything you thought it would be? And honestly, I understood their concern. Many of them were parents who were very happy with parenting, and they just couldn't wrap their heads around how I could have made this decision. So whenever you get a what if, think about the person's possible motivations behind that. They might be projecting. They're a happy parent, so they want you to be a happy parent. They feel completely fulfilled by parenthood, and they want you to feel the same. But that doesn't mean that you do. The only person who can make this decision is you. And I can only speak about my decision and how it's affected my life. And I can tell you that I've never regretted this choice. I'm a year and a half away from retirement. I'm going to start a whole new career. I have no debt. I have a wonderful relationship. I'm very close with my family. I have a huge group of friends. And no, I never feel lonely. But let's face it, there are a lot of times when I want to be alone. And I can be. And are any of those reasons not to have a child if you want a child? Absolutely not. But are they the benefits for me? Absolutely. And listen, there are some times when your friends are having kids that you feel left out. You're going to baby showers all the time, birthday parties. You don't have a child to bring with you. That's okay. And then when their kids get older and are involved in so many activities and you don't get to see them as much, that's okay. Eventually, their kids become adults and they circle back. Also, during the teen years, you're probably going to be called on a lot to go on vacation with the parents, take them out for a drink, or maybe even get the kid out of their hair for a little bit. As I read through the comments on your video, I was so happy to see so many other women, 40, 50, 60, 70 years old, who have remained child-free by choice and have not regretted their decision either. I'm sure all of them have suffered the what-ifs as I did. So know that those are coming, that you'll have a lot more of them, but the what-ifs and the answer to the what-ifs are no real reason to bring a child into the world if you don't feel as if you have to be a mother.
Hey, my name's Charlie and I don't want kids, so I've made a couple of videos now about inappropriately answering inappropriate questions. And the comments on the last video just went for pure violence, but I am living for these passive-aggressive Karen comebacks, so there's a 98% chance I'll never use these in real life, but I'm going to give them to you anyway, you absolute madmen. Why don't you want kids? Kids are just raised so horribly these days, they're such spoiled little things. Apart from yours, obviously. If you don't have kids, what are you going to do with your life? You know all the things you wish you had time to do? I'm going to do those things. Is it because you're scared of giving birth? So tell me, how are your stitches healing? Is it because you're worried about your body? Oh no, not at all. I have so much free time to go to the gym. You should really sign up. Doesn't your husband want kids? Oh no, he's actually really happy in our marriage and doesn't want to fill a void that's not there. But who's going to look after you when you're old? Well, the money I've saved from not having a child will pay for a lovely set of home help. What's your plan exactly anyway? What if you change your mind and it's too late? Did you forget about the thousands of children that desperately need homes?
So I get and see comments like this all the time, and I wanted to share this one with you. This gentleman says that women who don't want kids will turn into those weird old ladies who treat dogs as kids or are full of cats. My grandmother passed away, and I found myself in a room of 100 people, sons, grandsons, great-grandsons, cousins, nieces, and more, and nobody was asking about her career. We loved her for the opportunity that she gave us to live. So enjoy your childless life and your cats and your dogs. You will never know how it feels to be loved by 5 generations of people you created. Now, 3 quick things I want to share is, one is that he is sharing his personal experience as a Latin man and is acting as if this is the only way to experience life. Number 2 is that he later mentions that he doesn't personally or has not personally taken care of an elder person in the family. So he really doesn't know what the day-to-day of taking care of his mom or grandma or grandfather or his dad would be like. Number 3 is that he is assuming that a chosen family cannot possibly be as good as blood relatives and that experience doesn't really count. So lots to unpack here. I have a lot to say, but I wanted to hear what your thoughts are.
But what are you gonna do with your time? Who's gonna take care of you when you're old? No man is going to want to be with you. Why? You can't? You know, if you can't, there's a bunch of treatments out there nowadays. I have this friend, she couldn't get pregnant for like 3 years, and now she has twins. You can always freeze your eggs because, you know, if you change your mind, that way you have them there. But you would be such a good mom. You don't want a mini-me? Oh, your babies would be so cute. You know, women's are meant to have babies, right? So sooner or later, it's gonna hit you. It's gonna hit you. It's coming. You're way too young. You're gonna change your mind. And I'm sure I'm missing some. But let me tell you, something crazy. Not everyone wants to have kids. And we've heard it all. So